Good morning. Hi, Mark. You're up. I'm just going to try to finish this whole sculpture off now, and I um, am getting to work on it, and hopefully I'll make some progress today. I have school, so it's always slowing me up a little bit right now, but let me turn this music down a little bit. So I got this out this morning to show um, another example of fur that I thought you might appreciate. This is a pretty large porcelain sculpture that Chuck did many years ago, and the painting is done by the Asian China painters. Um, thank you. Mark says it's beautiful. When it was in clay, it was 16% larger. So let me back up, kind of go around. It has a base. Um, you can see it's on the prowl by the Franklin Mint. This was done in the 80s. But here's an example of where the animal's anatomy is the star of the show. And you only add the fur, like look under the chin there, and you can see the fur is, again, it's sort of like that tufted fur that we've been referring to for the raccoon, where you put clay underneath the fur to create the illusion of a tuft. And so that's so effective. And look at the side. That's very similar to what I'm trying to achieve on the raccoon. The way that I'm going to turn it this way, and you can see that clay is forcibly put underneath to create that illusion of sticking up. Let me hold that real still. See if I can uh, get you to see that detail. Look at the ears, the area of the ears. Um, so here, and another cool thing to show on this was many tiger sculptures you'll see, and animal sculptures in general, the head is way too big. This is an example of a head that's in proportion. It makes such a massive difference when the head isn't too big. I mean, you can have great anatomy, but if you make, by the way, this is a little heavy, so that's why I'm careful to hold it. I'd like to show more of it, but um, it's a little heavy, even though it's hollow. This is porcelain. And when this was first sold, it was like $800. I'm sure there are not many left. I got this, the one we had, we gave away many years ago. And I got this from eBay, and it was broken when I got it. So I just repaired it. So it's hard to find them not broken today. Um, Mark, you know what? If you want to look on our learnsculpture.org, you'll see Chuck with the original clay sculpt, and you'll see him holding it, and then you'll see a picture of it with the later piece. So I'll send you that link. I'll put that link. I'll put that up on the community area so you can see the what it looks like. It's possible I have the head in the boxes where I have to really do that unpacking. So I will get the original clay sculpt, at least the picture of it's on learnsculpture.org, but I'll put it in our community tab so you have the link. So you'll be able to see when you made things for porcelain back in the day, you had to, let me go this way, you had to make it approximately, depending on the porcelain body you were using, 16% larger was typical of what you did. So this thing was fantastic in the clay. Then it was taken to a plaster model. Let me show it better. And then all that detail. And so where it's like short fur, let me show again. See how it's just like around the neck and around the shoulder area, and just indications, kind of incised marks, not exactly that crude. I mean, he was very careful to indicate fur, knowing how these people were going to paint this piece, the Bengal tiger. So, um, plus there was a whole story of controversy around this piece. Oh my goodness. This represented our break from the Franklin Mint. We had to quit the Franklin Mint, and it's a long story. um, but uh, you know, there's a lot of drama in the days where we were professionally sculpting. I can tell you that, a lot of drama. But anyway, so you get to see that what I'm trying to achieve on this raccoon, and I didn't have time to work over the weekend, but let me bring this up. Let me take this away so I'll be right back. I don't want to break it. I should say I don't want to break it again because I had to repair it. But anyway, let me bring this up close for the raccoon. You'll see how much I have still to do, but I'm trying to create this tufted effect, just as I have demonstrated, and it's even back here and it's not quite done. So I took this piece off a while ago. You may have seen that. I'm going to refine this and make it like a corn stalk. But and this goes to your question, Mark, about making um, things for the mold making. I'm considering, yes, this has to be a separate mold. So the way I'll make this, we'll be able to lay it down, do half and pour rubber and then turn it over and do, but this won't look like this. It'll look nice, but I'm going to make it almost like a fitting. In the old days, we had to make fittings for everything. And so I've also started to do a few more corn cobs, and I'll do these pieces that come from the corn cobs. As you can see here, let me give you a better view of what I'm trying to do here, just to try to make a nice scene. And you can see from my board over here, I have, let me put this one down here and put that down. There's my AI created example for what I'm kind of gearing toward. That's a completely fake picture created by AI. I said, I want a raccoon holding Indian corn. Well, it couldn't quite get the Indian corn. Um, but any Mark, you could walk to where the Franklin Mint actually was? Or Monk. Okay, Monk. Well, I used to live 20 minutes away, a 20-minute drive in Lansdowne, Pennsylvania. That's where we lived for 20 years when we were doing all this work. That's crazy. So you lived close in Pennsylvania. No, Yaden. My grandfather was superintendent of the Lansdowne Alden school system, just so you know, in the 70s and 80s. Um, well, let's see, in the 70s, he was for 40, he was there a long time. And I went to school in the early 70s, Lansdowne Alden High School. Oh my, no, Penwood. It's now Penwood. Yes. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. Oh, so anyway, from my, oh, you're from my neighborhood. Oh my gosh. So we lived in, we actually had a house, what they call the Upper Darby Island, and that's where we did the tiger and all these sculptures from the time we worked for the gift industry. And we would drive to the Franklin Mint, oh my goodness, in Franklin Center, Pennsylvania. And so that was our career for a while. And then when things didn't go well with the Franklin Mint, long story, don't want to be boring, but oh my gosh, then we worked for Lenox and Danbury Mint and so other places. So I was not wanting to do sculpture for a long time because I had all these associations. And I realized over time that this is a great thing to teach other people to do. I can keep people out of trouble. And it's fun. Your family will love it if you do this stuff. You'll be a star in your own family anyway. And so there's still a lot of things circulating on eBay that we did so many years ago. I can't believe we've got a viewer from my hometown, basically. Yaden was walking distance from Lansdowne, where I grew up. So that's a riot. So anyway, I'm very excited about finishing the raccoon. We're going to go back to the bird and just have fun with these pieces and not feel like we have to do a perfect job, but I will teach tips on how to make it more satisfying to you, the sculptor, the creator, by worrying about proportions. Monk, if you had not downloaded the free raccoon guide, you don't have to put an email in or anything. It's just completely free, so you can join me on these. I had measured, um, oh, this isn't the right one, but for example, the height and then the head, and then all these distances, nose to the eyes. eyes to the ears. Everything got measured according to my drawings, which I'll bring it over here. And these are basically the drawings that are in your free guide. So you can measure these. Like if I, here's a better caliper measurer here. If I show you the, I can't get it where I can, okay, there you can see it. So let me turn this a little bit. If I measure the height, let me do that real quick, of the raccoon, and I did a perfect, whoops, measurement of the height. Then I go back here and let me do a better job than that. All right, there we go. And so my height of my raccoon, now I pushed the head down a little bit, but there we go. And I need to, there we go, right there. So that's the foot to the head. So you can see how and then with when it comes to, let me get you in the view. It's hard for me to get this camera view. I need a camera person to help me do this show. So I have, like, for example, the nose to the ear, and I just measured it on my illustration, and then I measure it here, and I've got a little bit of a difference because I've been pushing it behind, but I can adjust it all the time. What I'm trying to do is use my drawings that I took from real tracings, and then I filled in myself. I didn't trace the fill in, but I wanted to do real tracings from live videos so we could have accurate depictions of the animal. So that's the principle behind what I'm doing, to just try to keep those proportions correct, because as you can see with that tiger, it makes all the difference in the world to have correct proportions. So anyway, I don't know if you have any questions, but if you do, please put them in the comments. I'm really appreciating if you put questions that you can think like an afterthought into the comments area, because then other people can see our questions and answers, and it helps people in the long term get ideas for, I'm just trying to do one of these uh, pieces here. I'm just before it gets too hard. This is very hard clay, and it's called Clayette from uh, Chavant, which has been in business forever. That's the clay we started with, not this Clayette, but one from Chavant many years ago. That's how we got the fine detail in the clay, because it's so hard. So I heat it up over here. If I have a little pad that's for keeping food hot. See, it's not so hot I can't touch it. I can touch it. And then my clay is in here and it stays soft. Gets a little bit hot, but that's okay. It stays soft and usable. Add or subtract if not correct. If you could, Monk, if you could please put that question in the comments when we're done, I'll be glad to answer in full and with detail. And I'm also going to put a link to the tiger and the original clay. And so what I'm doing here, let me just get some, I could use any kind of tools, but I like this riffler a lot. I'm going to put some lines in this. You didn't see the corn, the little piece of corn I did already. I didn't do the end of it right yet. I kept it very thick. I'm going to do somewhat thick leaves so that they can be molded, so I can cast it in plaster. And I will just sort of start to make, and this is the fun part. I don't have to do anything I don't want to do at this stage. I can make, as you can see, artistic pieces that will just make the sculpture a sculpture. I mean, it's one thing to do a model. It's another thing to do a sculpture, which is a design, a completely original design that doesn't exist at all or never existed before. So I can make it quite creative at this stage. I don't know if it's going to look like that or what yet. So, but I'll stand back. That's a big thing too. And I've got my alarm. So this is all for today. Hopefully I can get more done before you come back on Wednesday morning. I hope you can come back. Mark, thank you so much. Monk, thank you guys for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you hopefully on Wednesday morning, and I'll answer your questions. Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye.